Hey. Welcome to Meal Spouse Conversations. Oh, the music started again. Hold up. Hold on.
Hi. I wasn't expecting that one.
Come on, jam with me. How y'all doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, welcome to Meal Spouse Conversations, home of the conversation and all the lovely things that involve tea. Meal Spouse Conversations is hosted by a diverse panel of military spouses, and we are here to empower you, and you to know who you are, be who you are, love who you are through all aspects of life. All right, y'all? All aspects of life. Not just being a military spouse, but in every piece of your life. Y'all hear me? Y'all feeling me?
I hear you.
All right. And we want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, USAA. You can go visit USAA at usaa.com/military spouse. Now, let me tell you why I gave you that address, that URL. Or you can go to mealspouseconversations.com and click on our top banner, and it will take you straight to their military spouse resources, where you can learn how USAA can help you navigate the ins and outs of military life. They have articles and checklists to help you with PCSing, deployments, and that POA. Hey, yo, conversation starters. What's a POA?
Power of attorney. I need one.
Hold on. Let me throw y'all back up here real quick. I just have myself up here. Hold on. What's a POA?
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney.
Why do you need a power of attorney?
Can't do anything without it.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing when they're deployed.
You can't do it. Yes, you can't do it. Oh.
Everything without mine.
You ain't gonna get nothing done.
I get everything done.
I can't even pay a bill. Like, I just want to pay my bill.
I set up all the bills in my name. I set up all the bills in my name. I do everything in my name. But when you're overseas, that don't go.
That's not flying.
Overseas, no.
So make sure you go over and check out our sponsor, our convolutious sponsor, usaa.com/military spouse. Or like I said, go to millspouseconversations.com. It's right there at the top of our banner. Their link is right there. Just saying. All right, ladies. What are we talking about tonight? Let's see who knows what we're talking about.
Boundaries. Boundaries part 2. Oh, why'd you throw me up on here, Sybil?
Because great. Last week we were talking about setting boundaries, and we were talking about some tips to help our fellow friends out there, because y'all are our friends. You're our friends. We love y'all. On setting some boundaries. So can you give us a little recap of some tips you gave?
Sure. We were talking about writing out some things in your life that make you uncomfortable, that you're not quite happy with, that's taking energy or maybe too much of your time, and looking at those and kind of deciding what you can do to either take those off the list completely to free up your time, your mental energy, your physical energy, whatever it is that you're losing from these things, and set those boundaries, whether it's a small boundary, a big boundary, cutting people off in your life that are in your mental space, whatever it is. But make that list of all the things that you kind of feel are off, and just go one by one and see what you can do to fix those.
Now, Nishita, I saw your facial expression when she said you sometimes have to cut people off. Would you? Sorry. Look, yeah, I called you out. Don't you cut me off. Don't you cut me off because I'm too much. Look, she had to think about
Yeah, I
it.
will cut a person off for that. It's pretty bad too. It's a draconian cut.
Well, can you give us an example? If you don't mind, you can tell me no. An example of a time you've had to, or when you think you would have to set that hard of a boundary.
I would say there's somebody in the group now. Not our group here, but in the group, like the Bell Spouse conversation group, that they blocked me on Facebook, but I was happy because I didn't have to cut them off. But they know who they are, and I don't go back. We could apologize. We could be like, hey, girl. And I truly mean it, but once the sever is made, it's pretty much done. And I will forget people. I do not. Because why hold on to them? You know, it's just kind of like, it's too much negative energy, you know? Who has time for all that?
When there's negative energy in relationships, friendships, hey, sometimes it's best to just set that boundary and move on. It hurts sometimes, but hey, not going to give you all my energy. Miss Anna, you wasn't with us last week either, or last episode either. Tell us one of your top tips to help set the boundaries.
So I am actually not good at setting boundaries. So I was interested in hearing you guys' tips for setting boundaries. So as we were discussing pre-show, I'm sitting in my car with my dog right here. And my son talked me into taking him yet again to BMX, even though, you know, he's supposed to be up to date in school and, you know, mowed the yard and all that. But I'm bad with enforcing the boundaries. But I will say I am like Nishita though. It's like one, you know, I'm very loyal, but once you have cut the boundary that I'm not enforcing. Once you cut, you know, like it's done. You know, I'm out. So I understand that. But for boundaries, I need to get better with the kids' boundaries, like what we're going to talk about. So I am interested in hearing how you guys enforce the boundaries, because it's one thing to set them, and then I think another thing to actually go through with them. So that's what I think.
Yes.
I think the start of setting them is setting something that you're actually, that have some.
Sorry, there was a bug. Sorry.
You're good. That have some meaning behind it. Before you set a boundary and say a boundary or tell your kids your boundary, make sure it's something that you are going to 100% be able to back up. For example, I'll tell my kid, I don't know, no, you can't play on the iPad tomorrow because you are misbehaving or whatever. And then here comes tomorrow and I do it. You automatically set that boundary to be known that it could be broken and pushed. So don't say it unless you actually mean it. Like it's the hardest thing I've had to kind of figure out is like, okay, don't let this come out of my mouth unless I actually mean it. Or once it's out, no matter what, you're gonna have to stick to it. Otherwise, you're doing it to yourself. They're gonna know that that boundary could be broken.
Yes, because I am guilty of that myself with the kids. I'll set a punishment that I know I am going. Because the reality is, so I have teenagers, right? I'm like, no, you cannot go XYZ. Knowing good and well, I really want them jokers to go somewhere to get out of my house. And that in the shade I look, you look at, hey, I'm just saying. Because I need that break. So I want them to leave the house for a couple of hours so I can have that break. But I break that punishment, that boundary, whatever you want to call it, every single time because I know I'm not going to stick with it. Yeah. So
I think
go ahead.
I think that's interesting because I think for me a punishment is a punishment, and like for me boundaries are like personal space inside and outside. So anything that is like encroaching on my person, me as a person, like, you know, how sometimes some people, they go too far, like in taking up your time or just showing up at your house or, you know, talking to you endlessly on the phone when you have to go, or like constantly blowing you off, or, you know, just doing little things that encroach on yourself as a person, your personal time, your personal space. Whereas for me with the kids and like punishments, and like I just feel like those are rules, you know, like these are the rules. And so I think it's interesting to look at that in the terms of like a boundaries, of a boundary, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't look at it as a boundary per se, as in, but I do kind of weigh them both the same when I'm like, because I will cave and they know that. Like my boundary may be, oh, guys, as I told you guys last week, we have to leave at this time or I'm leaving you. So that boundary, because they're not ready to go, they have now crossed into my boundary. But they know I'm not really going to follow up with the punishment, which that's a whole nother talk. But those two kind of coincide together with me when it comes with the kids. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't make idle threats. If you get threatened.
I try not to, but
if I'm threatening you, it's a promise. You're not gonna make it.
Give me 1 second, guys. We're going to run to a commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about teaching the kids the importance of setting boundaries. Because I feel like a lot of our problems as adults with boundaries is that we were not really taught to set boundaries as a kid. And in my household, you're a kid, so you had no boundary. You make yourself available when I say so. But anywho, we'll be right back after this commercial break. And we're back. I'm gonna get this timing down one of these days, y'all. One of these days. So, hold on. I see a comment here. Well, they go back to like 5 minutes, the 5-minute mark, but Julie said yes, personal space. Yes, we all need that personal space. And when it comes to boundaries for me, I'm like, y'all need to be 5 arm lengths away from me. You're too close. That's personal space boundaries for me. But anywho, do you guys teach your kids, or do you allow your kids to set boundaries?
My kiddos are super young, but my older toddler, And yes, toddler, I feel like they need their own boundaries as well, especially when they're interacting with other kids. And we actually had an instance today while we were packing our trailer. We were outside. There's kids playing outside and she's interacting and stuff. And all of a sudden I hear, Mommy, that kid told me that I'm whiny. And so some kid told her that she was whiny. Now, she's a toddler. She still slurs her words. She still, baby talks a little bit. But she knew that someone called her or told her something, and she knew that bothered her. So what did she do? She came and told me, because at her age, she can't necessarily voice those things, but she can understand them. And then she told me so that I can help her deal with it. And so it was a proud moment, because I was like, okay, she realized, she understood, it hurt her feelings. She talked to me. That was her boundary. She didn't like that being crossed. She didn't like people talking to her like that. So she came and told me. So I think it really has to start young. Not to say it's never too late. You can always teach your kids boundaries, but the younger you start, the easier other things will be for them. And I think I have the advantage of, like, my kids are younger right now, and so in this day and age, there's a lot of boundary talk. There's a lot of that type of influence. So they're learning that earlier than I never learned that when I was younger. That wasn't a thing. So I think they have a little bit more advantage being young right now in this time.
Yes, the times are very different from when we were kids, right? Because if someone I know for me growing up, if someone hurt your feelings, it was suck it up. And you wasn't taught, or, it wasn't that it was okay for you to feel a certain way or to voice how you felt about it. Then now you're a teenager and you're like, I don't know how to handle these situations. And then when you become an adult, you're just out here like, everyone hurt my feelings. I don't know how to handle it. What do I do? But now, yeah, these kids nowadays, yeah, we talk a lot about boundaries with friends and time. Now, you ladies have teenagers, right, Anna and Nishita?
14. One, it's 14.
Oh, yes, Julie. Yes, you had to be friends with everyone, even if they had been mean to you. Yes. And girl, don't get me started, right? You had to go to their house and play with them after they kicked your butt getting off the bus. And your mama looked at you like you were, I don't want to go to their house.
You're starting to bring up some memories for me, man. I would go to Skate Town every weekend with this one particular friend, and I would always get the stickers. I would spend like my last dollar and quarters on the stickers out of the sticker machine. She would take them from me. I have my dog in the car. So she would take them from me and not give them back. I'm like, that was the last dollar and quarters. I don't want to go to Skate Town with her, so I should have set that boundary up then.
But you didn't know how to, right?
I didn't. No, yeah.
Your mom was like, you're going to go anyway.
You're going.
You're going. And
Yeah.
you're going to kill yourself.
Yes.
Sorry, Mom, if you're watching. But you used to just make me play with kids. I was like, play with them.
I'm kind of guilty of that too, though. I kind of do that to when they were younger anyway. I was, if they would complain about something, I'd be like, no, you figure it out. You go make up and go play. But now I think I'm better about giving them that space. And, if they don't want to hang out with somebody, that's their boundary, their deal. So I've been good about teaching them personal space boundary, but I definitely need to teach them about, how, if somebody is intruding on like your values or something like that, there definitely needs to be those boundaries, especially as a preteen and a teen.
Most definitely as a preteen and teen.
Yeah.
And I will say preteen because as they become teenagers and get that freedom,
mm-hmm.
You want them to know what their values are and that they respect themselves with those values. Because otherwise, I don't know how you parent Anna, but I know for us at 16, you have a
Yeah.
lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Kids don't tell you everything.
Yeah, well, when we've started those conversations, I'm like, and I try not to word it like, oh, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you can too. That I try not to word it like that. But I said, you're going to be in situations where you're somewhere and all your friends might be doing something that isn't appropriate or whatever, and they may or may not be your friends, but they may be telling you, oh, you're scaredy cat, or peer pressure sort of situations. And I'm like, you've got to understand where you stand with that, and just know it's going to happen, and just keep pursuing your own values, and not worrying about what other people are saying to you that way.
Or what other people are thinking about.
Thinking. Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And that's where that be you comes in.
Yes.
Always
Yeah.
be yourself.
I'm a sucker for that one. That one, I have to work on my own self for that too. So.
Yes. Good point, Julie. Very good point. And we need to have a topic. We need to have a conversation about that with parenting. That when your kids are little, the parents. But as your kids get older, you don't know the kids either. You don't know who your kid is hanging out with. You have no clue who Bobby, Ricky, Mike, or Mary is. Did y'all catch that? Who did I name? Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Mary J, and Belle Biv DeVoe. Sorry.
Good one.
Nishita, what about you? Because you have a teenager. Do you talk to him about boundaries?
No, I don't think I've ever specifically used the word boundaries. Since he was little, I taught him to take care of himself and to stand up for himself, no matter who it is, because sometimes we teach kids to randomly respect people because of their age or whatever. But, you have to be able to stand up for yourself and not be persuaded to back down just because someone might be more quote unquote powerful than you or have a bigger position in life than you. And I've always just tried to instill that in him. Just stand up for yourself and treat other people the way you want to be treated. Even if they're not treating you that way, you just walk away from that person. Don't try to come back with the same energy because it's not your energy, And since he was little, I haven't had a lot of boundaries for him. Like, I have an open door policy. I've not really been like, oh, I need my time and stuff like that. I've pretty much been open, like my space is his space, my time I've dedicated to his development, I would say. But I've never specifically said, your boundaries, but I guess I've taught him, let people have their own opinion, no matter what it's about. Even if it's about you, you don't have to accept their opinion for fact, or you don't have to accept their opinions about you, to the point where you think you're taking their opinion on to yourself, saying, oh, this person thinks this person thinks that. Okay, it's fine. What do you think? What do you want? What do you want to do? And sometimes parents, I think we tell kids what we want them to do. We tell kids what we want them to know, what we want them to think, what we think. We're constantly giving them advice. Most of our advice is like dated. but it's like not giving them that space to say, I don't want this, I don't like this. Now, when he was really little, I didn't. I was pretty strict until he was about 9. I probably was pretty strict with him, and then after that, it was like, okay, we've been strict. Okay, I'm going to loosen this area. I'm going to loosen that area. I'm going to loosen this, just step by step, so that when he became a teenager, he already had the tools in place. He already understood like what he wanted. Not fully, because even adults don't even know that, but just enough for him to navigate through the world without me holding his hand every step of the way. And we were in Japan, we were in Ikeko, Cebu. Those kids was all over the place. They were all out there playing. I didn't get involved in that much. Go out and play. Go out and figure out how you want to interact with people.
Yes.
You know, if you can't handle something, you can let me know, but handle it yourself.
Handle it yourself.
He had a cell phone when he was 9. You know, call me. You're in a situation, you know, because sometimes I think we have our kids and they're our kids and they're our babies all the way until they're like 16. And then we're like, okay, it's time to get ready to get out. Like, then they turn 18 and we expect them to be developmentally sound enough to be out in the world functioning as an adult when we didn't teach them that. And we didn't allow them to tell us what they didn't want or what they didn't like or what they don't want to do because it hurts our pride or our feelings or our sense of authority, you know. And
or it's not
so,
the way we would do it. That's
not the way I was raised. No. I raised him the way I was raised until he was about 9. And then after that, I just let the reins kind of go, you know, because I didn't agree with everything that my guardians did, but it definitely didn't, you know, it's a lot of it helped. Some of it hurt, but a lot of it helped, you know. And the things I didn't agree with, I changed. And the things I felt were beneficial, I kept them. But I've never actually said the word to him, like, this is a boundary or this is a space or this is your personal space, just because you have to be able to navigate in a world full of unpredictable people. You know what I mean?
Sorry, guys.
So, unpredictable times, unpredictable people, and unpredictable situations. Life is situational. You know?
And I don't think
be too rigid. You know what I mean?
don't necessarily say, you don't have to necessarily use the word boundaries, but just teaching your children how to navigate life. One of our biggest obstacles, I won't even say obstacles, but one of my focus with teaching my kids boundaries, and now because they are teenagers, is their time, of others respecting their time. Because as a child, and even as a teenager, heck, even now as an adult, I struggle with people respecting my time. So, you know, I just had one leave for college, which I had to say, you gotta let go. You gotta let her go. She's fine. She's doing her thing. But, you know, my other two, they do some little odd jobs here in the community. And I'm teaching them, and they've done really well about their time. So if someone hires them, they've blocked that time off. Hey, no, you don't get to cancel on me last minute. What you doing? And that's a boundary, right? And for me as a teenager, oh, okay, that's all right. That's okay. And that was because, as you said before, Nishita, with adults, right? That's an adult. So I have to be respectful of that adult. Where now it's kind of like, well, no. If you hired me for this day, especially on a Friday night, and it's a football game, I done told my friends I couldn't go. You call me 15 minutes before and say, oh, you gonna pay me because I'm missing out on a fun night. And that's okay to teach your kids. Some people may disagree with me on that, but I feel like you have a 16, 17-year-old, teach them now to value their time. Oh, Julie, in 2 weeks, you'll have an adult child. What? Welcome to the adult child.
Yeah, me too. It's so strange. It's less than, like, it's like, oh my God.
That would be a great topic to have. What is it like raising adult children? And we can even throw in the military life with that, because what does that child look like now? They still fall under the active duty member, right? Because they are 18, so they can stay on the insurance. But what does that life look like now? I'll tell you what it looks like now. But yeah, really, when I think of boundaries, it is advocating for themselves, teaching them to stand up for themselves in all areas of their life. That's the child. And I think a lot of parents, especially if you're our age, I won't say the number, we'll say between 26, 27, and 40 something, we wasn't really taught about boundaries. We were just taught that you are always available and you play with everyone. You accept everyone. It doesn't matter if you don't feel good about the situation. You deal with it, which you do. You learn to deal with it, but there's another way of navigating it. And Grace, what your toddler did today, I'm like, high five. Yes.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think it's a big thing. And in our family too, another big boundary we teach is, and many people disagree with this one too, is just because someone's family or blood or whatever, the affection portion of that, the give me a hug, give me a kiss, give me a blah, 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 be in the same room with them, whatever it is. In my family, in my household, which is what another tip we used about that's how you still start your boundary in my house, in my household, we do not make our children interact with you just because you're blood or family. If they are uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable. If you are leaving my house, they do not have to give you a hug or kiss. They can wave to you. They can tell you bye. They do not have to touch you for you to leave my house. And that's a personal boundary on my side of what I'm comfortable with, but it's also giving my kids the opportunity to decide who they are and aren't comfortable with. And I think it's to an advantage because kids pick up on energy we don't, at least in my opinion. I see that a lot. So if they're not getting that vibe from someone for some reason, I'm going to respect that because they're feeling a certain way. I'm not going to make them feel a different way just because someone's upset that they're not giving them a hug or a kiss. So that's a rule. It's a set rule.
I am so glad you mentioned that, Grace. So glad that you mentioned that. We'll have to have a follow-up discussion about that. Because I'm right there with you on that. 100 million, billion, trillion times, right?
And I'm going to throw this out there since, you know, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. Normally, when we're all having a get together, when you arrive, you greet everyone. When you leave, you say goodbye to everyone. Hugs, whatever that is, right? Well, guess what? In my family, no matter what, my kids still don't have to do that. I grew up having to do that and I hated it. Oh, I hated it. Going to every single person, people I didn't know, people I just met, and, you know, hugging, all this, touching, all this. It was just so much. And so in my house, we don't have to do that. It's just the way it is.
And
oh my God, John.
Mentioning Hispanic Heritage Month, we have some content from Miss Grace that will be going up this evening. I was a little tardy to the party with it, but yeah, so Grace will be sharing all month. Look, I put her on the spot. All month about Hispanic heritage. And we're going to have a good talk about
because you guys are brave. You guys are brave. I like teach my son all that stuff, but to tell my auntie she ain't getting no hug and no kiss. I ain't getting popped. I was like, oh, you better go over there and say bye.
See, I used to do that too. I used to be like, okay, I started off having them do that, and like we continued it until I was comfortable in my own boundary. I'm like, you know what? Either you're gonna like it or not. If you don't come to my house anymore, then that's on you. This is my boundary. This is the rule. That's it.
I never built a boundary.
Yeah,
because I never built a boundary for that. It's like that's just how it was. We have a very large family, and sometimes you are not going to know who the person is, and that's just, we didn't have to hug and kiss the kids, like that'd be weird, right? We didn't have to, like, unless your cousin. No, that was like, bro, step off, bro. You know what I mean? But aunties, uncles, not, if they reached out and they, you didn't do that. You didn't, that's you know what I mean? That's not acceptable. So in my family, and I mean, it never bothered me. I don't know if it bothered any of my cousins and stuff. I think a lot of us are all touchy-feely. So I don't think we're all like care too much, but I ain't telling nobody that. I'm scared too. I get around my uncles, my aunts. I'm 10. I'm 15. You know what I'm saying? I'm back in my little girl shoes. Like, I'm grown. And they're like, girl, sit down somewhere. And I'm like, okay, that too. And I might protest and but at the end of the day, shit,
You gonna give
get
that?
on over
Yeah,
there.
no, my family wasn't very touchy feely at all. So with the kids,
Yeah,
it's
my
like,
grandmother wasn't. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, the hug is in the shoulder in your throat, like, ugh. And I hug my husband like that too. And he's like, stop.
Right. No.
But anyway, guys, we are going to go ahead and get off here. But we will be back the first Thursday in October. What is that date? What is that date?
The 6th.
The 6th. Oh my goodness. And October is a great, great month. We have some goodies. We actually have USAA coming in on the 22nd. We're going to get ready for the holidays. Going to get some budgeting tips for the holidays. I don't like that word.
I need them, y'all. I need them. I don't have no boundaries when it comes to gifts.
And you know what? There's boundaries with money, right? When we think
I
about
have money boundaries. I just don't have I get excited. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. You know what I mean? Like a little kid, Christmas time. So I need USAA to come talk to me. They're not going to talk me off the ledge, but I might not jump. I might not jump into the basket of toys and stuff. I'm always like, look, toys for dogs. Look, look at Marie. Like, shut up.
all right, so make sure you like and follow us. Check out our website because we do have some awesome content coming your way. And you want to make sure that you know about all the tea that is spilling out soon. There's going to be some tea spilling. Grace, we should do the wobble. We should exit with the wobble.
No, thank you. I'm not dressed for that.
Well, look, am I dressed for that? You never know what's... No, I have on jeans. All right, good night.